Hello again from me, Sudip Bhaduri, your movie host here on Barton FM, online and on digital, with the one and only Big Barton Film Show. Some cinemas are opening up, but they are showing reruns of past films, and they are now adopting safe seating, social distancing, and online ticket ordering, and things hopefully will look up for the future. So, to continue the golden movie years trend, we are now in year 1973 this week. I actually recall running for my grammar school for the first time ever in year 9 in cross country with major regional championship medals at stake. My first ever trip to Cornwall in the summer of 73, staying outside a place called Helston near Penzance. It's a very, very hot summer. The West Indies cricket team were touring at that time. What happened in your life in 1973, 47 years ago? In the news, Britain joined the EEC under the eyes of Edward Heath, the Prime Minister then. President Richard Nixon signed a ceasefire deal in Vietnam after years of struggles and conflicts. The great artist Pablo Picasso passed away aged 92, one of the greatest painters of the 20th century. The UK sent Royal Navy ships to protect British fishing trawlers in the so-called Cod Wars against Iceland. In foreign news, President Allende of Chile was overthrown in a major coup. There was some rumour that he committed suicide. General Auguste Pinochet was appointed new president, but his future regime was to be brutal. Britain's first independent radio station went on the airways for the first time. London Broadcasting Company, LBC, Capital Radio, was soon to follow. Princess Anne married Captain Mark Phillips at Westminster Abbey in November. Over 530 million people watched it all over the world. Women were admitted to the London Stock Exchange for the first time in their 200-year history. And the Dalai Lama made his inaugural visit to the UK and met up with Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Michael Ramsey. In sport, who can forget Sunderland from the second division, beating the almighty Leeds from the first division in the FA Cup final in Wembley, 1-0 thanks to Ian Porterfield. And Red Rum, ridden by Brian Fletcher, won the first of his 3 spectacular Grand Nationals by coming from a long way back to beat frontrunner Crisp. At the cinemas, Roger Moore made his debut as 007 in Live and Let Die. Clint Eastwood was back in the Western groove as an avenging angel type figure in High Plains Drifter. Bruce Lee captured the imagination of many after his success in the Far East in his first big Hollywood movie, Enter the Dragon. And Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford were all very mushy in The Way We Were. Walt Disney had a minor hit with Robin Hood with the voices of Peter Ustinov and Terry Thomas. Just missing out on my top 3 of 73, Westworld. You can pay a fortune to reenact anything in your dreams, like a cowboy in a western town, and everybody you meet will be androids, robots. Imagine if one of the robots were to go awry in the form of a gunslinger played by Yul Brynner. Now a major TV series, Westworld, arguably one of the best ever. Martin Scorsese and Harvey Keitel teamed up superbly in a film called Mean Streets. That also missed out on my top 3. So my top 3 films of 1973. Number 3, The Exorcist, my all-time greatest horror movie, made by William Friedkin, starring Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Jason Miller, and a young unknown called Linda Blair, who played Reagan, a young girl possessed by an evil demon. She demonstrated bizarre behaviour, vivid dreams, and fits, and begins to transform into an ugly child. All tests were clear, so cue Father Merrin and Father Karras to help exorcise the demon inside. Based on the book by William Paul Blatty, it was controversial at the time. It no doubt exploited the fears of parents and touched base with disturbing religious implications. Great state-of-the-art special effects with a good old-fashioned atmospheric horror. The sequels and prequels for this great movie are forgettable. Dread and unease for 2 hours. I actually saw this in 1974 in a rerun and had a nightmare or two afterwards. My number 2 of 1973, Papillon, made by Franklin J. Schaffner, who made Planet of the Apes in 1968. Another massive box office smash for this director. The harrowing tale about the escape of notorious criminal Henri Papillon Charrier. And the film is based on his biography, shall we say, starring Dustin Hoffman and Stephen McQueen, the great man himself, from the supposedly inescapable prison fortress of Devil's Island. He became allies with Louis Degas, played by Hoffman, who would provide him with an opportunity of escape after years of brutal imprisonment. Electric chemistry between Hoffman and McQueen. The French penal system is graphically represented here. The writer was the famous screenplay writer Dalton Trumbo, who was blacklisted by Hollywood in the 50s for suspected links to communism. A brilliant score by Jerry Goldsmith, and Henri Charrier's best-selling book was made into a movie at long last. But my top film of 1973, Where Were You in 62? American Graffiti. Director, a young George Lucas. Big things laid ahead for him. Written by Lucas as well, starring some very young, promising actors. Richard Dreyfuss, Ron Howard, Harrison Ford, Candy Clark, Cindy Williams, Charles Martin Smith. And they all had great things to come in their futures. A real hallmark movie set in 62. A series of touching vignettes about small-town teenagers about to make it big in the world. Powerful at times, amusing on occasions, a good coming-of-age drama, all based on Lucas's days as a teenager when he was riding his hot rods illegally in California. A powerful collage of American youth on the brink of maturity and the complex experiences of the coming decade. This movie inspired the TV series Happy Days, and the young actors blossomed after that. A truly magical and mature peek on the youth of the early 60s. My film of 73, American Graffiti.